This was the first editing stage of what our radio play started as. As you can see, we've already cut it up into bits, which you would do by pressing the B button, and you would search for bits where there were breathers in the middle, where there was simply a line like that, underneath my mouse, as you can see. There's a line where there's no speaking at all, which means there's a breather in the middle. So you would cut that out and delete it, and then you'd simply move it closer so there's less of a breather or space.
This is Detective Chief Inspector Abdul Patel from the Swanage Police Station. May I ask you a few questions?
There's a bit more. It's a bit more abrupt, and it keeps the play moving.
Yes.
Another example is
your daughter's medical records. I think it's time we had a proper sit down, Miss Knightley.
I knew this would happen.
The fact is, I want to keep the two voices completely separate, and one of them I want to mix by going into the pitch shifter, as I explained in I'll explain in the next video. But to separate them out in an edit, you would have to listen to it completely like this.
This is Detective Chief Inspector Abdul Patel from the Swanage Police Station.
And then, let's say you wanted this one to be called the name of our character, DCI Abdul Patel. Every time you found one of his voices in here, such as this one, you would move it onto his bit. So now,
this is Detective Chief Inspector Abdul Patel from the Swanage Police Station. I've added the pitch shifter.
Now he's on a different submix, it sounds different. So let's say...
May I ask you a few questions?
Because if I moved Miss Knightley down there...
Yes you can.
She has a much deeper voice which does not sound right. So with that one, I will then name this one Mrs. Knightley. You slowly separate them out like this, so eventually you end up with a full track mix like on my other videos. But eventually, each person's voice is on a separate area, as you can edit with them completely differently, slow them down, distort them and other things. And then you would put, on other submixes, you would put sound effects. This splits them all up, and then you can, because with the sound effects need to be quieter than the voice, such as an ambient noise in the background. Because if you had, like, let's say, if we put in traffic. If you wanted traffic in the background, for example, you'd put it on a different level.
Hello, Miss.
If you put it on the same level as his, he needs to be able to be heard.
May I ask you a few questions?
But you can't hear anything over it. As you can see, nothing can be heard. So if you throw it down to a lower one, and let's say call it traffic 1, as suggested, you can lower the sound to a very low level, such as minus 56.03.
This is Detective Chief Inspector Abdul Patel.
Maybe a little higher.
This is Detective Chief Inspector Abdul Patel from the Swanage Police Station. May I ask you a few questions?
Yeah.
And in the background there, you can hear there's a different sound. You can do other things, such as move it more into the right headphone or the left headphone or the left speaker to give it more of a dramatic effect, but we have not used this in our play. And that is how you do the standard editing.